From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Wednesday, October 2nd. It is starting out pretty chilly this morning. We're getting all the way down to the 40s, but hey, it is going to be a bright, sunny, beautiful day. We'll get into the low 70s, and it's going to finally feel less dreary outside.
Credit Karma makes building your credit straightforward and stress-free with help from our credit builder. Sign up today at creditkarma.com and start enhancing your financial health. Credit Karma, your partner in building a brighter financial future. Credit Builder plan is serviced by Credit Karma Credit Builder and requires a line of credit and savings account provided by Cross River Bank, member FDIC.
Explaining football to the friend who's just there for the nachos? Hard. Tailgating from home like a pro with snacks and drinks everyone will love? An easy win. And with Instacart helping deliver the snack time MVPs to your door, you're ready for the game in as fast as 30 minutes. So you never miss a play or lose your seat on the couch or have to go head-to-head for the last chicken wing. Shop Game Day Faves on Instacart and enjoy $0 delivery fees on your first 3 grocery orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Other fees and terms apply.
The vice presidential candidates go head-to-head for the only time just over a month until Election Day. Republican J.D. Vance and Democrat Tim Walz each looking to gain an edge in the race with a razor-thin margin, and one in which the candidates for president may not debate again. Julia Benbrook has the highlights and the takeaways.
Ohio Senator J.D. Vance and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, bringing their fight from the campaign trail to the debate stage, and detailing their party's positions on the top issues, including the economy.
I know a lot of you are struggling. I know a lot of you are worried about paying the bills. It's going to stop when Donald Trump brings back common sense to this country.
Kamala Harris has said to do the things she wants to do, we'll just ask the wealthiest to pay their fair share. When you do that, our system works best.
Reproductive rights.
Let voters make these decisions. Let the individual states make their abortion policy.
Just mind your own business on this. Things worked best when Roe versus Wade was in place.
Border security.
We had the fairest and the toughest bill on immigration that this nation's seen. But as soon as I was getting ready to pass and actually tackle this, Donald Trump said no, told them to vote against it because it gives him a campaign issue.
So you've got to stop the bleeding. You've got to re-implement Donald Trump's border policies, build the wall, re-implement deportations.
And foreign policy. The debate taking place just hours after Iran's attack on Israel.
Effective, smart diplomacy and peace through strength is how you bring stability back to a very broken world. Donald Trump has already done it once before.
Our coalition is strong, and we need the steady leadership that Kamala Harris is providing.
Reporting in New York, I'm Julia Benbrook.
To the race for governor here in Indiana, where 2 of the candidates accuse each other of breaking a new state law about the use of altered images in campaign ads. News 8's government reporter Gare Berquist shows us why Jennifer McCormick and Mike Braun are both crying foul.
Jennifer McCormick's campaign says Mike Braun's team altered an image without including a new state-mandated disclaimer.
She even wants an Office of Environmental Justice.
Here's the ad in question. It attacks McCormick for supporting the U.S. Climate Alliance. But this image never happened. Those no gas stove signs are actually McCormick for Governor signs.
Mike Braun has falsified Jennifer McCormick's record, and he's admitted to doing it. He's digitally manipulated images to put signs into voters' hands that they did not hold, and representing a position Jennifer McCormick does not hold.
State lawmakers this spring passed a law to require a disclaimer if a campaign ad uses altered media. Braun's campaign initially aired a version without the disclaimer. A corrected version came later.
Well, I think the spirit of the law is what's intended here, and it's politicians should tell the truth, and Mike Braun is not telling the truth in this ad.
The Braun campaign says the hopelessly liberal ads are in compliance with HEA 1133. An earlier version was mistakenly delivered to TV stations and is being replaced with the correct version. Mike Braun is the first candidate to comply with this new law, which requires a disclaimer for any alteration from an original image, even though his opponent has altered his appearance in her paid advertisements without a disclaimer. They're referring to this ad.
Do you criminalize abortion? Would you criminalize it?
I'm perfectly comfortable with doing it.
Braun's campaign claims McCormick's team selectively edited the audio from that interview with NBC's Meet the Press. So I pulled the original interview.
I think that's a question. Do you criminalize abortion? Would you criminalize it?
I'm perfectly comfortable with doing it, just not at the level where everybody's got to live with the same thing. And when you talk about criminalizing it, then all you're doing is taking this to a logical extreme that you'll never get to anyway.
Mike Braun's words speak for themselves. He supports Indiana's extreme abortion ban and has no problem criminalizing doctors.
So you do not believe that ad violated 1133?
I do not.
I asked Kirsch if the McCormick campaign is considering legal action over the ad. He would only say that all options are on the table. I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV. WishTV.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
And don't forget, tomorrow is when Wish TV hosts the only live televised statewide debate in the race for Indiana governor. It's also the first televised debate featuring all three candidates, Mike Braun, Jennifer McCormick, and Donald Rainwater. The debate airs live on Wish TV tomorrow night at 6 p.m. You can watch it on Wish TV, WishTV.com, and all of our network stations across Indiana. A potential raise for Election Day workers in Indianapolis is on its way to the full City County Council. The Council Committee recommended approval of the proposal last night. If passed, it will raise pay for absentee voter board workers from $11 to $15 an hour. It will also give Election Day clerks and inspectors a pay raise. The full council is set to vote for the measure next Monday. U.S. troops are now involved in the conflict in the Middle East. The Pentagon says U.S. Navy destroyers fired roughly a dozen interceptors against missiles fired from Iran toward Israel in retaliation for Israel's targeting of Hezbollah militants. Michael Yoshida has more from Washington, D.C.
Bombs and sirens could be heard throughout Israel Tuesday. In Tel Aviv, the starry night filled with what resembled to be shooting stars were actually some of about 200 ballistic missiles, according to the Pentagon, sent from Iran, who says it focused on Israeli security and military targets.
Based on what we know now, the attack appears to have been defeated and ineffective.
The attack, not surprising. This all comes after Israel's launch of a ground operation in southern Lebanon, targeting Iran-backed Hezbollah, and Israel assassinating Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, in a strike in Beirut on Friday. Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon have killed at least 7 high-ranking Hezbollah officials in recent weeks. Tuesday's attack sharply rebuked by the U.S.
This is totally unacceptable, and the entire world should condemn it.
We call on Iran to halt any further attacks, including from its proxy forces. During the attack, the U.S. military coordinated closely with the Israeli Defense Forces to help defend Israel.
Iran's president posted a warning on social media platform X on Tuesday saying, quote, "This action was in defense of the interests and citizens of Iran, to let Netanyahu know that Iran is not belligerent, but it stands firmly against any threat. Do not enter into a conflict with Iran." The attack garnered a response from Israel to Iran. It too had a warning.
Iran made a big mistake tonight, and it will pay for it.
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
President Joe Biden visits an emergency operations center in Raleigh, North Carolina today, getting a closer look at the recovery from Hurricane Helene. The number of deaths connected to Helene has surpassed 160. As John Lawrence tells us, that makes it one of the deadliest storms on record in the United States.
A flash flood from Hurricane Helene engulfed a neighborhood in Sugar Hill, North Carolina.
I'm okay. My car's gone.
Other parts of the Tar Heel state remain in tatters from the tempest.
We know that the devastation brought by Hurricane Helene is beyond belief. Communities were wiped off the map.
In Buncombe County, tens of thousands were without power while crews handed out supplies and searched for missing residents.
We're reaching out and trying to find those individuals who have still trapped in their homes.
Helene's wrath is also still felt in South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Virginia, and Tennessee.
What I'm most impressed by is the way this community has responded.
President Joe Biden says his administration will, quote, jumpstart this recovery process.
This is urgent. People have to know how to get the information they need. So we'll be there until this work is done.
A bipartisan group of senators sent a letter to majority and minority leaders Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell calling for the swift passage of disaster relief legislation even if it means coming back into session to get it done.
Our government is there. They're working hard, but their accountability is no greater than our accountability. We need to be helping everybody around us.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
People from Indiana are helping those affected by Hurricane Helene in western North Carolina. Indiana Task Force 1 posted overnight new pictures on social media as they continue to help with the search and rescue efforts. They're being helped by a team from the Indiana National Guard. Also, 26 volunteers from the Red Cross are currently on their way from Indiana to help give out meals to hurricane victims. Your statewide news network covers Jasper County, where investigators are working to determine whether bone fragments found on a property belong to children who may have been killed. A joint statement from the Jasper County Sheriff and the coroner says that the sheriff got a tip 2 weeks ago saying someone had confessed to killing 2 of their undocumented children and burning their bodies in a backyard fire pit in Wheatfield. On Monday, law enforcement searched the property with cadaver dogs, and the sheriff says officers found partial bone fragments. Those are now being tested in Indianapolis to see if they are from a human. So far, no arrests have been made, but the sheriff says another undocumented child is in protective custody with DCS. In Fort Wayne, police have released body camera video of a child rescued from a swimming pool by officers. It happened September 22nd after police were called to a neighborhood on Sullivan's Court to help locate a missing 3-year-old with autism. That's when Officer Evan Myers spotted him in the above-ground pool.
Just before I found him, he's in a pool, 2 houses south, backyard. Come here, buddy. Hey, okay. Hey. It's okay. You okay? He's breathing, conscious.
Police say Officer Myers stayed with the child until the other officers arrived. Fort Wayne police did not give an update on the child's condition. IU is training its police officers on how to treat people during a mental health crisis. The university requires police at all 9 of its campuses to go through the training. One officer tells us it's because a police officer is often the first person encountered by someone having a mental health episode.
That officer has the ability now to say, well, have you ever had any issues with anxiety or anything? And maybe here's some resources for you to look into that, because a lot of people are going through these things and they haven't been diagnosed.
Lieutenant Ray says the training can also be used by officers to assess the mental health of their fellow colleagues. Using sports to bring together those who typically don't compete together on the same field. The Indianapolis Colts held its annual Unified Flag Classic at the team's headquarters. It's part of Unified Sports, which gives students with and without intellectual disabilities the chance to be on the same sports team. Flag football is one of many sports that are part of the program.
We have close to 50 high schools participating in Unified Flag Football. We'd like to see that number grow. Obviously, we can't provide this opportunity for all students across the state that are playing this wonderful game, but the more the word gets out and they see the positives of the sport, it's a natural.
Last night's Classic featured a high school doubleheader with Zionsville taking on Fishers High School, followed by a game between Arsenal Tech and George Washington. It's a big week for Big Bears. Voting starts today for the annual Fat Bear Week. The bracket-style tournament pits 12 chunky contestants against each other to win the coveted title of Fattest Bear. This is the 10th year for the contest that celebrates the resiliency of more than 2,000 brown bears that live in a national park in Alaska as they get ready for hibernation. Vote for your Fat Bear. It starts today at noon and runs through next Tuesday. You can find out how to cast your vote by going to the As Seen On section of wishtv.com. This has been your News 8 Daily. From Wish TV, I'm Hannah Mordeau. Watch us on wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook for updates.
This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's because I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and t-shirts that give back. 1 purchased equals 1 donated. Now go to bombas.com/Wondery and use code WONDERY for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/Wondery and use code WONDERY at checkout.
Okay, it's time to commit. 2024 is the year for prioritizing yourself.
Begin your new smile journey with Byte, and you could start seeing results in just 2 to 3 weeks. Just order your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95 at Byte.com. Byte clear liners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer financing options, accept eligible insurance, and you could pay with your HSA, FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.